Attack on Titan, or Shingeki no Kyojin, abbreviated as AOT and SNK, is a name that, while we're familiar with now, is a bit grammatically odd in English, isn't it? Why not Attack on Titans? Why not Attack on the Titans? Why is Shingeki translated as attack in the first place, when the word only partly even means that, with one of its kanji? The name Attack on Titan in both its Japanese and English variants manages to describe and reevaluate its own meaning, given further changing narrative contexts over the course of the series' runtime, no matter at what point that you are in the story. And today, for the sake of efficiency and being thorough, this video is going to get about as nitty-gritty as I can in exploring the thoughtfulness of choosing said title. Now that enough of the anime has been released alongside it, let's finally discuss the direct reasons and meanings behind naming Attack on Titan SNK, and some theories on why SNK was translated to AOT. Attack on Titan, in a sense, is a direct, albeit not totally literal translation of Shingeki no Kyojin, with the English word Titan and the Japanese word Kyoujin both referring roughly to the idea of giants, or, in this case, the Titans. Attack is perhaps the most simple English word to cover the idea and overall concept of Shingeki in this context, but Shingeki doesn't actually mean attack, and in fact, as I'll cover later, its more nuanced meaning actually is fundamental to the philosophy of Eren as a protagonist, antagonist, whatever you want to call him, as the series progresses. Japanese kanji is divided into sets of readings and pronunciations depending on their involvement with other kanji, or in being singular. These differences in readings are often referred to as on and kun readings. The first kanji in Shingeki by itself is generally read as susumi, or susumeru, which is best translated as to advance, to proceed, progress, or promote. The on reading of this kanji is read as shin, obviously, as we read in Shingeki, and that change happens because it is connected next to the other kanji. The second kanji has a kun reading of utsu, and is where the translation attack likely comes from. The main reading of the kanji utsu by itself is to beat, to attack, to defeat, and to conquer. The on reading, predictably, is geki, as seen in Shingeki once again. So if we combine the two meanings of the separate kanji for the actual definition of the word Shingeki, it gives us a better context than what the word simply would be by itself, which is something I'm certain you'll find very interesting later, so keep it in mind, let's put a pin in that, and I'll come back to it in a bit. Shingeki as a word is not actually most commonly used by the word attack, but generally used to describe an advance or a charge. Like in a military context, the context for attack is implied, of course, as we covered. It's present in the second kanji's meaning, but it isn't at the forefront. In the same way that an advance implies a forward progression and evolution of movement, like is part of the kanji susumi. We'll wrap back to this in a moment, like I said, but I promise that we're building to something big, and you'll understand why I love the name Shingeki no Kyojin and Attack on Titan, but we still need a few more pieces of this puzzle. The no in Shingeki no Kyojin is a possessive particle, which is used more generally than how we use possessive marks in English. It denotes a thing owning or being a descriptor of a thing. This is separate from adjectives, colors, etc., which have whole hosts of varieties of Japanese grammar that isn't totally relevant and is beyond my understanding of Japanese, at least to feel comfortable giving my public understanding of it on the internet. So while, for example, a black coat might be kuroi koto, some things we would consider adjectives in English will be translated as possessives in Japanese. Like, if instead we had a bloody coat, it wouldn't be the equivalent of bloody koto, it would be translated as chimamire no koto, as in the coat covered in blood, or the blood-slathered coat. The other usage of no, as important to this context, is its more parallel translation of ownership in English. John's Pizza would be pretty much just John No Pizza. And so in this same way, we understand the double meaning of Shingeki no Kyojin. On one hand, it translates to the idea of attacking the Titans, like we see with the military and scout regiment attacking the Titans early in the series, which also makes sense with the more militaristic subtext of to charge or to advance, susume, but also can be done possessively, as we understand the held Titans later to be named by their descriptors. So, Shingeki no Kyojin, translated for context, goes from attacking Titans to the Attack Titan, the name of Eren's Titan, the descriptor for it. The show basically uses one translation to describe the premise of the show, then with additional context, it is revealed all along that this is the story of Eren, that we aren't watching an attack on the Titans, but the story of the Attack Titan. Let's circle back now to what I said to put a pin in earlier, with Shingeki meaning more than just attack. And more specifically, let's look at some of the mindsets and actions of Eren after connecting to the paths with Historia. The meaning of the individual kanji behind Shingeki, as we covered, are to advance, to proceed, to progress, to promote, to evolve, and to beat, to attack, to defeat, and to conquer, which inform the context of Shingeki's meaning of advancing or charging with this violent subtext. One of the most famous phrases that gets quoted and referred to, given by Eren, is his classic line, "I keep moving forward until my enemies are destroyed." This is the central driving focus of Eren in the final arcs of the series. This is repeated in some context or another throughout the story onward, given more explanation and detailed. One of my favorite lines in the whole series exemplifies this idea through things like Chapter 121's, "If other people are going to steal my freedom, I won't hesitate to take theirs." The thing is, Eren in Chapter 100, the word he uses to describe him moving forward is Susume, the first kanji of Shingeki. The ideology, the philosophy, the proper descriptor of the Attack Titan is the insistent to move forward, to advance on the enemy until they have been completely conquered, to clear a way toward freedom. Eren's philosophy itself is described by the word Shingeki in its individual On and Kun readings. And the way that we understand the title Shingeki no Kyojin changes one more time during the last arc of the manga. Skip to this point if you're watching this video before Final Season Part 2 finishes and you don't want spoilers. The way it changes is that Eren is not only the Attack Titan, but also becomes the Titan being charged, advanced toward, and attacked himself. The combination of the first meaning, i.e. the scouts attacking Titans, and the second meaning, Eren being the Attack Titan, come together in meaning as the combined force of the good guys, so to speak, go together to stop Eren, the Titan in control of all Titans, the singular Titan. This is where I think the English title makes perfect sense grammatically as well, and I'll admit this part doesn't have hard evidence behind it, other than what I think is just a natural logical conclusion of all the information you've been presented, as well as Isayama choosing the English title himself for the series, but think of it as this. It's not called Attack on Titans, because that becomes irrelevant to the story partway through. It's called Attack on Titan, because Titan is an idea, an entity. And Eren, the Attack Titan, becomes the singular Titan, being pursued by the end of the story. The one that needs to be stopped. Welcome back for people who skipped for spoilers. I was just discussing the English meaning of Attack on Titan, the singular use of Titan then, while having a sensible context ending the series, also makes sense with Titans at the start. Because fundamentally, humanity was attacked by the Titans, but humanity's goal isn't to attack individual giant zombie things, it is to attack the idea of Titanhood itself, to understand what a Titan is, to understand it like a parasite or an infection, to be able to prevent it, as well as curb the population of Titans as creatures. Eventually we learn in Season 2 that all humans are Titans. The goal isn't then to attack Titans, it's to address and fix the cause of Titans, the Titan curse, the Titan disease that exists inside of the Eldian race, the child of evil inside of them, the devils inside the Eldians, as the Part 2 ED says, the Akuma no Ko. I'm not an expert nor native Japanese speaker. There's likelihood that I made some mistake or goofy comment or overstretched somewhere, and an even greater likelihood that I mispronounced something absolutely terribly since my pitch accent or intonation is horrible. But I still like to think that all of these details are factual elements about the story's evolving narrative, and that it makes sense and is cool to see the evolving context of that narrative in reference to the title's many interpretive meanings. I also like to think as well, and to see in the choice words and grammar of the English title so that we understand Shingeki no Kyojin in reference to the current story's narrative, and as a whole. The title manages to describe under one context the starting premise for the show, the context for how we understand Titans, one of the biggest reveals in the show, and ultimately describe the final arc of the series. All with 3 simple words. 2, if you don't count the possessive particle. And while I love these titles, I still, admittedly, can't help but feel some regret and sadness over the translation, as good as I think it is, better than most might even think. Well, I think it's well done. One of the most iconic, mind-blowing moments of the series essentially goes over many foreign watchers' heads because they either aren't paying attention to what Eren says in Japanese and don't recognize Shingeki no Kyojin as the title of the show when referring to himself in Season 3, or even worse off, they listen to the dub and lose 100% of the context for what is essentially one of the biggest mind-blowing moments in the series. It's a moment that changes the center focus for the lens that we use to view the series on its most basic, fundamental level. Then again, I guess this video now exists, obviously, so if someone finds this and didn't already know it, then hey, that would be amazing. And you can raise the chance of that happening too. If you thought this deep dive into the name Attack on Titan was interesting, please help share the video around. If you want more in-depth analysis like this, please check out what will be, in total, over 14 hours of Persona 4 content going up on my side channel over the course of 30+ video segments. And of course, subscribe here for more anime content. Comment below, like, and share the video. Engagement is the only way that people will see this, and if you're chill or are willing to positively add something to our community, join the Discord down below. There's a pretty low bar for toxicity though, so don't be surprised if you're met with resistance. If you're chill though, it's the best place to get notified on all of my new videos and every time I go live on Twitch. Especially since I only do @everyone to let you know when a new video or a live stream is up. Finally, thanks so much to Friendly Neighbor, Daniel Frousing, My Name is Klein, Whizbang2093, Frolneck Lizard, Icarus, and all of my other patrons and Twitch supporters. See you soon.